What's up, YouTube peeps and barbecue freaks? Thank you guys for joining me today. Well, today is part 2 of the series that I'm doing of what I pack for competitions, or items that I think you might need if you're just starting out in competitions. Last video we talked about my bin, my wash station, what I carry, or how I carry my water, what I carry my rubs and salsas in. This video is going to be about my knives. Many of you have been asking me what kind of knives do I use, what kind of knives would I recommend for someone just starting out. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to lay out my knives. I'm going to show you what I pack for a competition. These are knives that I recommend that aren't going to break the bank, but are really useful and I think needed in competitions. You guys ready? Let's get started. All right, you guys, so the knives that I use are Dexter knives. I like the Dexter brand, especially in competitions. I think they work great, mainly because if you can see the handle, it's a rubber handle that is easy to clean. I've been using these ever since I started, and I'm just a huge fan of the Dexter products. So that's what I have here. What I pack for a competition, what I need is, or what I use is, I always start off with, or the first one is going to be the Dexter. This is a 7.5 inch bony knife. This is great for trimming like the fat off of a brisket, or the silver skin particularly off a brisket. I think a bony knife is perfect for trimming meats, particularly brisket. So I always have a Dexter bony knife with me. That's something that I always pack with me. The other knife is a 9 inch. Now this one is serrated. I don't know if you can pick that up, but for me, this knife is my go-to knife when I'm cutting ribs. And or on a spare ribs or St. Louis cut ribs, you got that cartilage at the end of the ribs. So this actually works really well for cutting through that cartilage. I cut ribs with this all the time, and it works great. For ribs, I highly recommend this 9 inch Dexter serrated knife. This is one that I will only use on ribs. I don't use it on brisket. I don't use it on chicken. Well, if I might use it on chicken, but that's just chicken that I'm trying to, just to cut up so we can eat, not for turning chicken. But probably 95% of the time, this knife here is strictly for ribs. Now, when it comes to brisket knives, let me move these over here. These two are probably the two most used knives. You have these are both 12 inch Dexter slicing knives. This one, as you can see, is not serrated. This one is. You can see here. Both of them work really well. I know people who will only use this one when they're slicing. Now, these knives are used for slicing brisket only. I don't use these to slice anything but brisket. While both of them are great, and I actually have 2 of these, I personally prefer the serrated one. A lot of people will say this isn't the right one to go with, that you should go with this one, and that's because this knife is serrated, so you run the risk of it catching on the meat. However, I cook a lot, not only in competitions but at home, so I use this knife when I was first starting out a lot. And I know people who will go through one of these a month, or actually a couple of these a month, just because it's, it gets to a point where it starts to wear out, and when you're cutting brisket, it doesn't cut it as well. Now, if you keep using a new one often, something like this would work. But I found that for me, this serrated one, it actually lasts a lot longer. You don't have to worry about sharpening it. This you can sharpen. However, I don't like to worry about that. I want to be able to just pull it out, start using it. And this one allows me to do that. So I have used both. I think when these are new, they work phenomenal. For me, I just didn't want to have to buy a new one every couple of months. So I switched to this one. Again, they're both 12-inch. And I just, I just have a whole lot more luck with this one, especially if I just happen to cook a brisket that's a little too tender. I'm able to cut through it a lot easier with this one. You could go with either one you like. They both work well. Just currently, this is the one that I'm using. And I've been using this one for probably the last year. But it's up to you. Both of them work great. When I'm going to competitions, I do not take this one though, just FYI. I'll use it around the house some to save this one, but I do not take this one to competitions. But I wanted to show you guys this because this is one of the knives that you see the most out there. And again, you can't go wrong with either one. I just think this one lasts longer. And then for all my knives, you need a sharpener. So this is a Dexter, this is a 12-inch, yeah. This is a 12-inch also. Knife sharpener that I use. This works great for, you want to sharpen my boning knife. It's got that handle down here that protects you from, or protects your fingers from being hit. This is just something that I bring with me to every competition. I think this is a must. You'll always see cooks out there trying to sharpen knives. So to have one of these is, it can be a lifesaver. It can really, really help out. So again, for me, the knives that I use are all Dexter knives. I am going to show you a couple of other things really quickly that I pack up with me that I absolutely bring with me to competitions. And that's going to be a good set of shears. Now these are Dexter shears that I use. I like them. They come apart, so when I want to clean them, I can clean them, put them back together, and just use them. So again, this is from Dexter, and it actually works really, really well. I like these. There are a number of different shears on the market that you can use. I just, I've been using this one for a while, and it works for me. And I always make sure to bring a spatula. Not one that's too big, not one that's too small. This one, now this is not Dexter. I actually don't even remember where I picked this up from, but it works well. So I always make sure that I take a spatula with me when I'm going to a competition. And I load all of this will fit perfectly in my knife case, which is what I'm going to show you next. One thing really quickly that I forgot to mention is I got all of these at A Smart store. It's a restaurant supply store in my town. You might have one where you live. If not, you can order them online. I believe for the 12-inch serrated knife here, I want to say I paid about 30 bucks for this knife. For this one here, this 9-inch knife I paid, I want to say it was about 24 bucks, 25 bucks. For the sharpener here, this ran me about 25 bucks, I believe. And the boning knife cost me roughly, I think it was $18, somewhere right around there. So I just wanted to give you, I don't remember what the shears cost me, so sorry about that. But just wanted to mention that because I know I forgot to mention it. But those prices compared to other knives that are on the market, those prices are actually really good for these knives. Again, you can find them a whole lot more expensive, but I don't think you're going to find them any cheaper. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen them. But you're getting a really good quality brand in Dexter. I know like folks like actually Malcolm Reed had these on his, and he actually still might have them on his website, but he was pushing these, selling them, a set of knives. So it's a good brand. And again, I just wanted to mention, because I know I forgot to mention where I got them and roughly what they cost. All right, so what do I carry my knives in? This is what I use. I found this kit at the A Smart restaurant supply store in my town. And this is a really cheap one. I think I paid $15 for it. You could definitely find some, you know, that are built more or built better, but they're going to cost a lot more. But this works great. You got a pocket here where you can put stuff in. A lot of times I'll put my thermometer or miscellaneous items in here. You have, you know, pockets all throughout here that you can put stuff in. I don't use those pockets just because I load my stuff up in other places. Now this has been used a lot. I take it to every competition, so it's you know, it's a little dirty, but it's taken a beating and it's last. And but it works great. You know, I load in my sharpener here, load in my knives. I make sure to put my knives, I'll show you here in just a second. When I'm putting my knives in, as you can see, the blade part is facing in. When I put the other knife in, I'll make sure to face a blade out. So I don't want it in here where I go in to pull this knife out and then cut my finger, you know, on the back side here. So always make sure to face the knives away. Again, just like this one, if you're carrying a couple of these, you put it in there. And on this one, I don't know if you can make it out, but the blade is on this side. So, but again, I don't take this. So, but in case you were taking it, you want to make sure you face the blades away from each other. Then I take my shears, throw my shears in here, take my spatula, throw my spatula in here. And there is actually one other knife. 1 second. So this knife here is a Tramontina. I bring this one along with me, and this I bought at I believe I got it at my local HEB. It's not a Dexter, it's just one that I happen to pick up at the grocery store, and it's actually worked really well. This works. I like the boning knife for trimming brisket, but I tell you what, this works really well for trimming briskets also. So I always make sure to bring it along just in case. So everything fits into this case perfectly. Close it up. Zip it up. And then it's got these Velcro straps on here. You fold it over once. Get out of here. Fold it over again and just Velcros together. The handle can Velcro together here. And it just makes it easy to carry. It's got a strap you could throw over your shoulder. I just take this whole thing like this, put the strap around, and I throw it in my bin right on top of everything else. So you know, this works great. It holds all my knives, and very, very cheap. And in fact, you can actually take this case, throw it in the washer, and wash it. And I do that often. It's about due for a wash. I mean, it's, you know, it's dirty, but it's taken a beating. It's held up. 15 bucks. You can't beat it. Again, many of you have asked what knives do I use or what knives would I recommend if you're just starting out. There you have it. Dexter. It's a great brand. They're quality knives at an affordable price. I use them. I recommend them. So you can take that for what it is. I hope you guys found this video useful. I will see you guys at the next video. Thank you guys for stopping by. Take care.